So Dave, tell me, why did you choose to represent Mozaik?
I chose to represent Mozaik because our core values align. Mozaik's goal globally is to make sure that software becomes commonplace. So anyone that has a panel saw or anyone that has a cabinet making shop will know that a panel saw is the most commonplace tool in a cabinet making shop, right? Mozaik's goal is to make sure that software becomes that same commonplace. It's affordable and it's attainable. This industry is made up of guys that are father and son, husband and wife kind of businesses. They're small family businesses. They're not conglomerates. They're not Wesfarmers. We're not talking Bunnings and Kmart here. We're talking, small businesses. And most of the bigger players in this industry, they charge a fortune for software, and it needs to be affordable. It needs to be attainable. So for me, the chance to represent Mozaik is about being that change in Australia. So bringing that product to Australia and making sure it becomes affordable and works in this industry.
So how do I pay for Mozaik? Do I pay for it in US dollars?
Yeah, everyone pays for Mozaik in US dollars, and the reason is because you're buying direct from Mozaik. So we represent them here in Australia, but you're not buying direct through us, you're buying direct to Mozaik. And it's all in US dollars. I often get asked, can you pay in Australian dollars or anything like that? And the reason why everyone pays in US is because you are buying direct, and it actually saves you a lot of money buying direct from the supplier. There's other software providers in this industry that they buy a US product and they resell it here to you in Australian dollars. When they resell it to you in Australian dollars, something goes amiss with the markup there, because there's software that you could buy for 20,000 US and it's resold to you here for 50,000 Australian. I mean, I'm no mathematician, but that doesn't quite work out. You've got a product that's 20,000 US, that'll convert to around 28,000 Australian. So by buying direct from the supplier, you're saving a lot of money.
So I'm not sure about subscriptions. I'd rather buy a house than rent one. Can I buy Mozaik?
I often get asked the question about, subscriptions and whether you can buy versus subscribe, and I think the general rule of that is that people in Australia want to buy things, they want to own things. It's an Australian dream to own your house, right? So, but when you compare that to software, it doesn't really translate. The thing with software is that you've got to understand what you're actually buying. If you've ever installed software on your computer before, you would have noticed a little tick box appears. It's called the end user license agreement. It's basically the agreement that explains what it is that you're installing and what you actually own in that scenario. So what you're actually owning when you're talking about software is the right to use it. You don't actually own the software. You're not buying shares in a software company or anything like that. You've bought the right to use the software. You've bought the right to download it, to install on your computer and to use it. So you don't actually own anything. The only thing you own in that scenario is your computer. So when you're thinking about comparing it to buying a house, a house is an asset. It generally appreciates in value over time, whereas software doesn't. It's a liability, really. It's something that costs you money. You might make money using it, but it doesn't make you money. So when you buy software, you're really paying the money up front for that over time. So you think about it like you're paying maybe 20, 30, 40, 50 grand for something and hoping that you get the longevity out of it, hoping that it's the right option for you over the next 10, 20 years, hoping that it's going to give you that distance. But it's hard to know what direction your business is going to go. Is that still going to be the best software for you in 5 years, 10 years? Is that company still going to represent that software well? Are they going to update it? Are they going to offer the service that you need? And you're sort of putting all your eggs in that basket, buying it, hoping that that's going to be the end outcome. But when you look at subscription, it's a fairer relationship on both sides, because you're only paying for what you use when you use it, which means in 5 years' time, if that's not the right option, then you can change direction. You can go with a different provider. So it's a fairer system, and you don't have to put all your money in our basket and hope that we're going to be the right option for you. You can try it, see if it's the right option, and if it is, then continue with it.
What happens if I have to stop my subscription? Will I lose all my work?
No, if you decide to stop your subscription or pause your subscription for any reason, you don't lose any work. It's all stored there locally on your C drive. So everything that Mozaik or you draw in Mozaik, it's all on your computer. It's not cloud-based, so it's not like it's stored in the cloud and we just turn it off and you never see it again. It's all kept there locally on your computer. Paying for Mozaik just allows you to open the program and access that stuff. So it's all still there ready for you to use. You just need to continue with the subscription. You can jump back in and continue where you left off. If you pause for a month or 6 months or 12 months, it doesn't matter. It's all still there. You can jump back in and continue using it at any time. But what I like to tell most guys, if you're going to try Mozaik for 3 months, make sure you save all your jobs as a PDF in a format that you can open on any device. That way, if you've produced all these drawings and cutting lists and things that you want to still have access to, if you decide to not continue with the product, you've still got use from that, and you can still use it and access it. So,
can I use Mozaik on more than one computer?
So yeah, you can use Mozaik on multiple computers, but what you require is an additional seat. So the way Mozaik's licensing works is it's registered to a device. So what I mean by that is when you download the software and install it on your computer, what happens is Mozaik generates a unique user ID. It's a way of identifying that that's your computer. It's a 7-digit code, and that's your user ID for that particular device. If you then want to put it on a second device, a second computer, that when you install the software on that one, it'll be a different user ID. And user ID is not transferable between. So you can't log in and out of the license. It's a situation where to run it on 2 devices, you have to purchase an additional seat. I quite often get asked by people like, can I have it on a computer at home and then one in my workshop? The answer to that is it is an additional seat. So one at home is a different computer, so it would be another seat. Otherwise, you can put it on a laptop, so you can take your laptop to and from. That way, it's transferable. So when you're talking about seats, one of the great things about Mozaik is that it replicates the same level of function that you've got on your first one. That's a huge thing, because most software companies will sell you a downgraded license for what they call an additional seat or an additional key. So you might be able to produce like floor plans, elevations, 3Ds, cutting lists, nest everything and create G-code, like a full production license on one computer. And then they'll sell you this downgraded key on another computer that can only draw. It can't actually export code for a CNC machine. Whereas with Mozaik, every seat replicates the same functionality, so you're not losing anything. It means that everyone in your business can be productive and can actually nest and export G-code. So that's a huge thing, because it's a massive cost saving right there.
How do I share my jobs and cabinet library across multiple computers?
Yeah, so file sharing in Mozaik is super easy. One of the great things is that you can just jump into Mozaik's preferences and choose where you want to point your data. So I explain to most people the easiest way to do that is using a file synchronization service like Dropbox or OneDrive or Google Drive. They're the best ones on the market that make it super easy and affordable for you to share data between 2 computers. There's no need to get an IT guru in to help you set up a file server or anything like that. I mean, you can do that if your company's got a server. Sure, you can put your data on the server. But I always recommend to go with something like Dropbox or OneDrive, because it also keeps an off-site backup in the cloud, and keeping your data secure is so important now. Like, the worst thing you can do is leave it all on your C drive. I get phone calls from guys every week where, unfortunately, they've dropped their laptop or they've spilled a coffee on it or something like that. There's so many reasons where you can just break your computer and lose your data. So it's super important that you have an off-site backup, and Dropbox or OneDrive makes that so easy, because it uploads everything to the cloud instantly, synchronizes it across all your computers instantly, makes it easy for you to share jobs. You just don't have to think about it when you set it up, and Mozaiks make it super easy for you to be able to set that up.
So does it come with a cabinet library, and does it have all the hardware I'll need?
Yeah, so look, Mozaik is shipped with a standard library, but our team here in Australia provides an Australian and New Zealand suitable library. We do things fairly different to the rest of the world. The way we build things and the way we construct things is fairly different. So our team at Cadmate has designed a library that's suitable for the Australian and New Zealand market, and we provide that free of charge. We don't want people to have to reinvent the wheel. We want it to be easy for you guys to onboard with Mozaik. So that library comes with a very extensive list of items. So actually, you can jump on our website and you can see a full list of all the cabinets that are included. And in terms of hardware, like in the last 12 months, we've added probably 15 different drawer systems. Most of the major providers in the industry due to COVID have had lots of delays in getting stock out. So people are jumping on different smaller providers. And yeah, so we've really got our finger on the pulse on adding in new hardware. We want it easy for our customers or subscribers to jump on and keep using the software and use all the common things that are out there. When it comes to more detailed hardware, like things like pull-out pantries and pull-out items, things like that, typically that information, like the drilling specs and that, aren't available online, which means that it's pretty hard for us to add that in and give that to you ahead of time, because typically you'd have to buy that item, and when you buy it and physically unbox it, there'll be some instructions inside that tells you how you need to fit that item. So those things you're going to have to do yourself. And one of the good things is that Mozaik has the tools and features that makes it easy for you to add that in. And I think that's a really important thing when considering buying software. It's thinking about, well, what happens if there's something in there or something that I need to do that doesn't exist? How easy is it to create? Is it easy to jump on and drill a new hole here or put a new route there? And that's what Mozaik makes super simple. So I think we give you the majority of the hardware and library, but you can add to it, and that's really important.
I'm not very good with computers. How long does it take to learn, and what's the cost of training?
Yeah, the most common thing people say to me when looking at software is that I'm not very good with computers and will I be able to learn it? Most people in this industry come from a cabinet making background. They're more comfortable on a panel saw than they are on a computer. But I think the thing that Mozaik does really well is they adopt the KISS method, the keep it simple, stupid. It has to be easy to use. I've taught guys in their 70s, and they've been able to bang out 10 kitchens in their first week. So Mozaik is easy to use. I'm confident about that. But I've taught people for the last good part of 20 years how to use software, various programs. And over that time, I've learned a fair few things about the right way to teach people. So our approach is mostly online. We used to do on-site training, face-to-face sort of stuff, and the worst thing about that is most people forget 75% of your conversation when you walk out the door. And it would be pretty deflating walking out the door knowing that, okay, 75% of what I've just said is leaving with me, because it's just human nature. You can't retain that much of a conversation. So the way we do things now, we try and keep it in short, quick increments of training. Like we keep it as 30 minutes, 60 minute, 90 minute, or at most 120 minutes. 2 hours after that time, most people's focus tends to waver. It's pretty hard to focus for that long, especially when consuming new content. One of the things I've learned the most is that to adopt new information, you need to practice it. So the reason why we've shifted to online training is that we can record the training sessions. That means that you can re-watch the session. So at the end of every session, we send you a link, you get to re-watch it. It means you can re-watch it and practice what we've taught you. And if you practice the lesson, you'll retain at least 75% or more. And so that's a huge jump from the 25%. So in terms of training, we try and keep it affordable and in short increments. It means that we offer those online training sessions. Aside from that, you've got a few other options. We do have a video training course. We call it Mozaik Mastery. And the course is designed pretty much so anyone can jump on and learn how to use the software. Cost of the course is $4.99 Australian. The course doesn't expire either, so you can log in and out as many times as you need, watch the videos as many times as you need. We've built that on a dedicated learning management software, an LMS system. So it keeps track of where you're at in the course, which means that you can jump on, watch a few videos today, come back next week, and you can see exactly where you left off and continue on with the lessons. You can re-watch them and go over them and maybe have it on another screen while you're practicing what you're watching. So it's a really good way to learn. It's especially suitable for guys that are too busy during the week and they just want to learn maybe of evenings or on weekends. When they have some quiet time, they want to jump on and try and learn something new. So our goal at Cadmate is to make sure that that Mozaik Mastery course is the only training you'll ever have to purchase. We want that course to be the one-stop shop.
So how do I get talking to my machine, and how much do the post-processors cost?
To get Mozaik talking to your machine, we offer you a free 1 hour online training session, or setup session, where basically that's what I do. So, my background is I'm a guy that writes post processors, right? So to explain what a post is, it's basically a language translation thing. So it's something that translates the software language to your machine language, right? So there's a bunch of different machines in the market. Some are from Europe, some are from America, some are from China. They come from everywhere and they've all got a slightly different language translator on them, which means we need to get our software talking your machine's language. So to do that, we offer you a free 1 hour online session where we just jump on, help you configure all the settings and get that set up. The post processors with Mozaik are free of charge as well. And that's a huge thing because a lot of providers will charge up to $5,000 for a post, which is crazy considering it's just a text file. But we keep it simple. We want our customers to be able to swap machines or jump on a machine and or export to a different machine. So we try and keep that really simple, and we make that attainable and affordable as well. The only exception to all of that is there's a new technology where there's auto-labeling CNC machines, right? So there's these machines where they'll actually stick the labels on for you. A label is like a little sticker that basically goes on the part, tells you where you need to edge band that part and where that part has to go through your factory, what cupboard it belongs to, what job it belongs to, that sort of thing. There's machines that now automate that whole process and stick the labels on. That's a relatively new technology, and it's mostly adopted in Australia. It's rarely used in other parts of the world. So Mozaik has added that in, but there is a fixed one-off cost of purchasing that. Average is around $750 US just to purchase that one-off part of the software.
How much does software support cost, and what happens if I don't renew it?
I think the software support side of things is one of the hardest parts of any software company, right? Because it's a challenging thing to manage. We offer free email support. Our approach is to try and keep it free. We don't want you to have to pay for anything more than the software. I've worked in the software support game for a long time, and pretty much I can break down every question into three main topics. Someone's either calling up to say, I've got a major show-stopping problem and I need help right now because my machine's down and I can't get this job done. That's the primary thing that you want to help people with in that scenario. Or people are calling to ask a how-to question. How do I do this? Or I've forgotten where this is. And those questions aren't really support questions. They're more training-orientated questions. So it gets pretty challenging to know how to break down, what is support, what is training. And no company does it really well. I mean, most companies charge $3 or $4 grand a year for that sort of service. They allow people to call a few times and ask questions. The trouble is, it's like the 80-20 rule, it suits 20% of people because 20% are going to call up and ask 80% of your questions. They're going to call you 10 times a day and need their hand held through everything. Whereas there's the 80% of people that maybe only want to call when they got that show-stopping question. And the problem is, everyone's busy supporting the 20% asking simple questions. So, how do you do it well? So the third part of the questions that people call up to ask is typically they've got a problem with the software. So there's a problem, it's not doing what it's meant to be doing, there's an error message or something along those lines. We feel that you shouldn't have to pay if the software has a problem. That's not really fair to say, okay, you've paid all this money for the software and then we're going to make you pay again to try and fix problems. Hence the reason why we go down the approach of free email support. You email us when you have a question or a problem or whatever it is, and we get back to you from there. A lot of people are a bit nervous about that. They think, well, I'd rather pick up the phone and speak to someone. I can tell you now, I'll be able to email back 20 people in the time I can have one phone call, one phone conversation. That's typically because most guys will call with the show-stopping problem or the problem that they're experiencing, and then they'll go on to say, while I got you, can I ask you these 10 questions that I've been wondering? And it's those 10 questions that takes up all your time and stops you from getting back to the next guy that's got the show-stopping problem that you want to help. So the email approach gives us the ability to triage questions. We can see what comes in, we can see if someone's got a major problem, we can jump on it straight away. So that's why we prefer the email approach. We also have some other avenues. About a year ago, we started a Facebook group, and just today, actually, we've just approved our 1,000th member of that group, right? So it's a very popular group that you see about 6 or 7 questions every single day. So we get a phone call every week, people telling me how much they love the Facebook group because they're able to sort of read a question and then see an answer to it. And it keeps it really incremental, in the learning content. Again, it comes back to that sort of same training analogy where if you see something in a short, sharp burst, you can really retain that information. You might not remember the exact question or the exact answer, but you'll remember that a similar question was asked, and you can jump on the Facebook page, search, type in what you're after, and you're going to see all the questions that were asked in that similar scenario, and then you can see all the answers too. So it's a great way of getting instant support because most questions have already been asked. And the good thing is that it's not just us answering the questions, clients are also helping each other. So we're trying to help our clients collaborate together and have a collaboration approach rather than just everyone having to pay us for service. The idea is like a lot of software companies will want you to pay for their service. They want you to go, okay, come back and pay for more training, pay for more support. Our support is free, and we want you to be able to get that wherever you can. If you can get it from us, great. If you can get it from another customer, even better. The idea is we want to try and make it attainable and affordable. So on the Facebook group, we recently asked our customers, we ran a poll and said, okay, would you prefer us to offer phone support? and we would pay for it. We would charge a similar rate that other companies in the industry charge. And out of over 100 people that responded, not one person said they wanted phone support, which tells me that we're doing something right. Everyone's really happy with the email system and the Facebook group. Again, it's free, it keeps it affordable, and it's working. That's what's really important.
So what do I do if I'm stuck and need instant support?
Yeah, look, instant support, there's no such thing in any industry. It's a good goal to aspire towards, but if you think about it, you could call 000 and still have to wait, and that's a system that's designed to give you instant service. That's what they're based on. It's been in the news this week that ambulances have been lined up outside of hospitals waiting to get in. And that's a genuine emergency. Like for most people in this game, their emergency is like, my machine's down and I need to get a job done. Definitely an emergency, but in context of an ambulance, maybe not. So if you need to get instant support, you send us an email and you let us know it's urgent. We'll action it as quick as we can. But you should never expect that you could pick up a phone and call someone and get an answer right then and there. Even when you're paying software companies for that, you're never going to get it. And if software companies tell you that they're always going to be available to take that call right then and there, the proof's in the pudding there. You can try it and see, but I think most people will generally tell you that that doesn't happen. Our approach is to give you the tools, teach you the knowledge, give you the available people to try and connect with, to try and get help as quick as possible. We want you to be self-sufficient. If you become self-sufficient, then that means that you can serve yourself instantly. If you've got a problem that you come across, you generally know the answer. We've got a lot of self-help tools in the software too. Every single screen in the software, there's a question mark. You click that question mark, it shows you everything you need to know on that side of that part of the screen that you're looking at. So if you're a very detailed PDF will open and it will show you exactly what you're looking at. So that's a huge thing. We spent a lot of time developing that functionality and documenting all the functions of the software to make it easy for you to learn. But of course, you're going to come across things that just are above your pay grade, or you're just not sure how to do. That's where we're here to help. So you just send us an email, and the good thing is the software's actually got this built-in function where you just go to help and click on email job to help desk. That packages up everything that you're looking at and sends it to us. We can unpackage it, look at it, and go, oh yep, I can see where he's going wrong. I'm looking at exactly what you're seeing. So you can include screenshots or anything like that too, but we can see exactly what you're seeing, and then we can get back to you and say, hey, this is what you need to do. We have various ways of doing that too. Like it could just be a simple text response and say, hey, just click here and you're done. Or we might put screenshots in there to try and break it down and make it easier. So if your question's more detailed, what we'll do is record a quick video. The videos are great because I can screen capture what I'm looking at, what I'm seeing, and then show you exactly in a video form, so you can download a quick video, watch exactly what you need to do. That's a huge help because that, even that for us is quicker to do than take a phone call, because we can do a quick 5-minute recording, send it to you, we're done within a few minutes, and then you've got a really good answer, and you've got an answer that you can go back to in case you forget that for next time. And the knowledge hasn't been lost over a phone call. So for all those reasons, the email support system just is so much more efficient and better than the phone system. And best of all, it's free. You don't pay anything for it. So you pay your subscription and don't pay for support.
So what does the Mozaik do?
So Mozaik is designed for the cabinet making industry. It's kitchens, joinery, it's that sort of thing. It's cabinet making. So what it doesn't do would be sign writing. So there's sign writing applications in the industry like NRoute or VCarve. They're great programs that are designed for helping people carve out text or 3D machine things. That's what they're designed for. So Mozaik's not that. It's not going to do that sort of stuff. It's going to be more on the cabinet making side. Shop fitting is sort of like a flip of the coin. It really depends on how detailed your shop fitting is. So there's products that are specific to shop fitting. If you're a shop fitter that does majority cabinetry, then Mozaik might be the option for you. But you sort of need to give it a go to see, because it really depends on what sort of work you do. But it's not going to be building you, compound curved reception counters and things like that. If you're doing die walls and that sort of thing, it's not the right program for you. So I always tell people, like, if you're a cabinet maker or a joiner that does majority cabinetry, then Mozaik's the best option for you.
Will Mozaik do everything I need?
To be honest, you can never say everything. I don't know what everything is to you, but the idea of Mozaik is you can try it for 3 months, dip your feet in and see if it's going to do what you consider to be everything. When you look at buy-in software, it's a pretty loaded thing because you've got to weigh up front. I'm going to drop 50 grand on something, I need to make sure it does everything. Whereas with Mozaik, it's a trial subscription. So you're only locked in for 3 months, which means that you can jump in, and after 3 months, you're going to know exactly what it does and if it's going to be right for you to subscribe to longer term. So after the 3 months, it goes on to a 12-month subscription. And after that, then you can keep renewing for 12 months at a time. Or you can jump in and rent it month to month after the 3 months as well. So you've got a few options, but the good thing is that you're not locked in. You can decide whether it's right for you. So any sales rep can sit here and tell you that, hey, it's going to do everything I need. This is the best thing since sliced bread, but hey, the proof's in the pudding. So you've really got to jump on and just try it and see if it's going to be right for you.
So how do I get started and what happens next?
Getting started is really easy. You just go to mozaiksoftware.com to set up the subscription. Once you sign up, you'll pay for the first month when you do that process online, and then you'll get an email sent to you generally within the next business day. What happens in that email, you'll get a link to download the software, and you'll get some paperwork that you need to fill out to set up the direct debit. Once you've got the direct debit set up and you've got your software installed, you'll have a user ID. That happens when you first open the software. It'll present you with this user ID. You simply email Mozaik back and say, this is my user ID, and you'll be up and running. So generally the whole process takes 1 to 2 business days.
Rolling on sound? Yeah. I'd rather buy a house than own one. No, see, that's the same thing.